Though in the current financial standing of the United States, most of us aren't giving away money for free. According to New York Times' recent update of their odd news section, a sixth grade girl has actually gone to school with $20,000 and given it out to multiple individuals of her school, simply giving out $100 bills to each student that she, so to speak, liked. Now, though this seems ideal for most people in our country, the Republican Party has currently taken a stance on exactly how they're going to allocate money and exactly how we're going to budget our current status quo and our future America to come. Because of this, we must look towards Paul Ryan's current budget plans and understand exactly who he's catering to, the GOP or the Democratic Party. Which brings us to today's question. Is Paul Ryan's most recent budget a boon to the GOP or to Democrats? Now, according to a Business Week article dated March 13th, 2013, it actually states that Paul Ryan's recent budget plans are strongly catered towards the Republican Party as a whole simply because of his multiple ideals. And so we must answer this question as to which party he's claiming to as strongly the GOP. This can be answered with three main areas of analysis. The first being that Paul Ryan's current budget plans actually contains high amounts of Republican incentive. Secondly, we must understand the reason behind Paul Ryan's current catering towards the Republican Party is because he's actually the frontrunner and wants to maintain this influence over the Republican Party before finally looking towards the future of Paul Ryan and seeing that in the 2016 elections, he actually may be a strong runner in the elections and must have that support of the Republican Party. So, because Paul Ryan is not simply giving out money, we must see exactly where he's taking it from, by understanding exactly his ideals and seeing what his budget is doing. Which brings us to our first area of analysis, understanding exactly what Paul Ryan's budget plans are doing as far as the Republican Party is concerned and their incentive as a whole. You see, according to a Bloomberg article of March 12, 2013, it states that Paul Ryan's current ideals as far as gaining $3.7 trillion towards the United States GDP is actually strongly catered around the idea of cutting back on major healthcare ideals, such as Obama Affordable Health Care Act as well as Medicaid as a whole. Now, directly showing a parallel towards Republican ideas and as far as the GOP is concerned, their overall ideals. This can be addressed in a CNN poll as of December 12, 2012, which actually stated one of the highest reasons that the GOP was against President Obama was because of his healthcare acts, showing directly that Paul Ryan is actually catering towards the GOP as a whole, not only through his budget plans, but also through his ideals in general. Furthermore, according to a New York Times article dated March 12th of 2013, it says that Paul Ryan's plans to take away money, to gain money towards the United States government and the overall United States is going to be heavily done through his ideal of using privatized land to in fact instill more drilling for oil. And you see, we can draw a direct parallel, a direct perpendicular towards the Democratic Party and see that the Democratic ideal will be more strongly based around putting towards finances as far as finding more oil alternatives rather than simply pursuing oil in general. Showing once again that Paul Ryan is showing his incentive towards the GOP and towards his GOP supporters as a whole. Now, focusing on the GOP supporters, we must understand exactly why Paul Ryan is putting these steps forwards towards the GOP rather than the Democratic Party, which brings us to our second area of analysis, understanding exactly his incentive in the GOP and exactly why the GOP is such a strong supporter of Paul Ryan. You see, according to a Bloomberg article from March 13th, 2013, it actually states that the GOP sees Paul Ryan as one of the frontrunners and that their support towards Paul Ryan has not wavered with his policies. The reason behind this is because if we look back towards Paul Ryan's old policies, such as from the year 2012 and further on, we can see that there's not much difference or not much change coming off of his policies as far as budget plans are concerned. The reason behind this is because Paul Ryan actually instills basically conservative ideals into himself, meaning that he will conserve exactly what he believes in and will continue to pursue this. expressing this through the Republican Party and the GOP, and by that, gaining more support from the GOP as a whole, even though some people disagree with his ideals. Furthermore, a New York Times article dated December 12th of 2012 continues on this by saying that members of the GOP have actually placed Paul Ryan as one of the highest rankings as far as who will be elected in the next 2016 elections as far as the GOP primary is concerned. Now, the reason behind this is because many Republicans see Paul Ryan as one of the forerunners simply because of who he ran with in the recent elections, showing that he's already a household name and already someone trusted by the GOP as well as some Democrats as a whole, showing a growing number of support towards Paul Ryan and his overall campaign. Now, the reason behind this is because he must focus on exactly what will be coming up in his future, which brings us to our last and final area of analysis, Paul Ryan's overall long-term incentive as far as the GOP is concerned and as far as his policies are concerned. Now, what this is emphasizing is the fact that Paul Ryan, though it may be far, but it is upcoming, the 2016 elections will be a heavy burden on Paul Ryan's shoulders, expressing the fact that he will be one of the forerunners as far as the GOP is concerned. In fact, according to another CNN news article dated January of 2012, it actually says that Paul Ryan, if he were not to win in 2012, he will actually be one of the forerunners in the 2016 elections as far as the GOP is concerned, stressing the fact that Paul Ryan must maintain the support from the GOP as a whole. Now, in conclusion, we can look back towards this girl and see exactly how she's given away all this money and understand that Paul Ryan is not necessarily going to do this. However, he is going to cater to all of those that he likes and all of those that he enjoys, being the overall Republican Party. And as he does this, not only will he gain Republican supporters, but he'll also maintain his for future runs to come.